Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. This is the English translation of the Majlis of Hazrat Maulana Qamar Uzzaman Saheb Damat Barakatuhum, which took place on Wednesday, the 7th of Rabi'ul Awwal 1446, the 11th of September 2024. Hazrat Wala starts off this Majlis by quoting the ayat of the Quran Majid, فَنَادَى فِي الظُّلُمَاتِ أَن لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا أَنْتَ سُبْحَانَكَ إِنِّي كُنْتُ مِنَ الظَّالِمِينَ. Hazrat Wala is saying, from quite a distance at the back, from a long time already, the author is coming with this discussion. And he's busy at this point here. He's mentioned many subtle points and nuktas. Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab, towards the end of his life, made much kalam, and his ma'amul and practice was that of La ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu min al-zalimin. Now here the author is saying, sometimes when a person wants to present his need in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then he does so by means of mentioning his own need and his own helplessness in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And sometimes when he wants to present his need in front of Allah, then he sings the praises of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Like how it comes in the hadith, أفضل الدعاء يوم عرفة. The greatest dua is the one which is mentioned on the day of Arafah. وَأَفْضَلُ مَا قُلْتُ أَنَا وَالنَّبِيُّونَ مِنْ قَبْلِ. And it is the most meritorious which I have said and the Anbiya alayhimu salatu wassalam have said before me. And what are those kalimat and what are those words? What is that most meritorious dua? La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah. There is none worthy of worship besides Allah. He is alone. He has no partner. So here, just study that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is equating praises to him as a dua, because in the praise to the Master who is all independent, by mentioning his qualities of perfection and his grace, etc., that is what is in the thana. So a person does this. Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab used to say frequently that a person goes in front of the king and then he starts praising the king without saying anything. And what is the end result of that? The king endows him and bestows him with something. You know, Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab he did not have this kitab in front of him. But he would speak on these articles and these topics so passionately. You know, he would go on to say, we are reading from this kitab here. He would go on to say, when he would read from the kitab, that alfaz mein nuraniyat hai. There is great illumination and barakat in these wordings. Alfaz yaad hai, I know these words. However, in alfaz ke sunane mein barakat hai. In relating these wordings, the very same wordings, there is great barakat and blessings. So here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is speaking about Sayyidina Yunus alayhi salatu wassalam, فَنَادَى فِي الظُّلُمَاتِ, when he called out to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the darknesses, that La ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu min al-zalimin. When he said that and he called out to Allah in that manner, what happened after that? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then said something about himself. What did he say? Allah ta'ala said, فَاسْتَجَبْنَا لَهُ وَنَجَّيْنَاهُ مِنَ الْغَمِّ وَكَذَلِكَ نُنْجِي الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Allah ta'ala said that we have accepted for him and we granted him salvation from the grief. And in a very like manner, we would continue giving salvation to the believing people. Now here, Yunus alayhi salatu wassalam is not explicitly, openly, clearly asking for something. However, he is praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he is making apparent his helplessness and his weakness in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala equates that to him asking. Sayyidina Musa alayhi salatu wassalam done a great act of virtue to the daughters of Sayyidina Shu'aib alayhi salatu wassalam, his two daughters, and he did not intend or ask from them any type of reward or remuneration. Rather, he watered their camels and he filled their livestock, and he filled water for them as well. Thereafter, he turned to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and he asked from him, and he did not ask from the two of them. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and a person, an individual, whenever he asks from his master, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is that Zat and being that whenever he is asked, he gives. Whenever he is asked, he gives. And what is the shan? What is the shan of a Sufi? A Sufi वही है कि औरों के हुकूक जो उसके ज़िम्मे है पूरे कर दे और अपने हुकूक का मुतालबा न करे. A Sufi in the true sense, genuinely, truly, is that one, is that individual who fulfills the rights of others, but he never ever demands his own rights. He'll do for others, but he'll never ask about himself. وَالصُّوفِي مَنْ يُوَفَّى مِنْ نَفْسِهِ وَلَا يُسْتَوْفَى لَهَا. So Musa alayhi salatu wassalam fulfilled what he had to do, but he did not ask from them something in exchange. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then gave for him from the side of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then there was a jaza, al-jaza'ul akmal, the complete reward. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hastened for him that reward in this dunya over and above that which he stored for him in the akhirat. In what sense? That he married him off to one of the two daughters, and he made him the son-in-law of his Nabi Shu'aib alayhi salatu wassalam, and he made him acquainted to all of this until such a time came, the time of his own risalat and prophethood. Therefore, then the author goes on to say, ए बंदे अपना मामला अल्लाह ही से रख, नफा वालों में रहेगा. The author says so beautifully, فلا تجعل معاملتك إلا مع الله سبحانه وتعالى أيها العبد تكن من المربحين ويكرمك بما أكرم به عباده المتقين. O servant, do not place your matter with anyone other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Put your matters in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You will become from the successful ones, and Allah will honor you in the way that He honors His saintly and pious servants. Now we read every day, and I relate these majalis and talks to you people. Make dua. People make dua for me that we are reading. Make dua that Allah Ta'ala gives me the tawfiq of amal as well. You people make dua for me. Allah Ta'ala give us the tawfiq and the hidayat of understanding this tariq and this path to Him. This kitab is very, very concise. Lekin maghz hi maghz hai. It is just the essence and the essence. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم بحرمة سيد النبي الكريم صلى الله عليه وسلم.